Liam, how's your squad looking? Because you're near enough full strength, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. So high competition for places. Lots of people, wanting to play, which is good. I think the biggest challenge now is making sure that everybody plays their part to make sure the team that we do pick going into the game at the weekend's ready. So, like I say, that's the biggest thing, and the most important thing is how strong the culture stays within that.
I suppose that's another little part of management, is working out what's going to work best when you do have everybody available.
Yeah, and I think that when we talk about optimal performance and then seeing how the opposition set up, I think it's there's it's not just a quick easy pick of the team. We spend a lot of time looking at it, talking around it, studying the opposition, looking at form, looking physically where people are at. So there's like I say, there's a lot of time spent picking the team and making sure that we go with the right team or what we feel is the right team to ultimately go and perform and get a result. And that can change week to week. Depending on the opposition, their strengths, their weaknesses, how we are, what the groups look like in training, how people have performed previously, etc. There's numerous ways that we go around selecting a team that ultimately plays at the weekend.
And some of the ones who've come back recently, Kasumu, Issa, Waters, it's a gradual process, isn't it? They're not just thrown straight in because they've been out a while.
No. Again, I think it's making sure that we look after them, for the short, medium, and long term, and doing what's best for them. And again, that can be frustrating. I understand for the guys, but at the same point, it's a long season with a huge number of games still to play. So for me, we didn't want to rush them. We wanted to make sure that people are right and ready. So and then it comes down to fighting and scrapping to get in the team. So we've obviously got another game on Tuesday where people that maybe haven't had a high number of minutes will potentially get an opportunity in that, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, because we can talk lots around what people potentially might be able to do. So when it comes around to having that opportunity, it's then a case of making sure they step up and show what they can do.
Scott Twine took the headlines in the week. 6 goals for an attacking midfielder after just 10 games or whatever. I mean, that's some form.
Yeah, and could arguably be more. Some of the other games he's had some really good chances as well. So I have to say, and said it to him, it's probably one of the best hat-tricks I've seen, I think. I think keeper maybe helped him on the second one a little bit, but overall is a terrific hat-trick. And feel from a bit, obviously we didn't get the 3 points because that would have ultimately made it a lot more enjoyable for him, I'm sure. But he's done really well. He loves the game, and the bits I said it before. What you see the other night, it's not luck and not fluke. He studied it, he works at it regularly. So credit to him for having that attitude and applying himself to make them things happen. That's down to him. So delighted for him.
That's some signing, isn't it? Scott Fraser left the club, and he was a fantastic player last season. Maybe a little bit of pressure on Scott to perform and live up to Fraser, and he's done it with plenty left there.
Yeah, and again, obviously with so much change, again, I didn't work with Scott Fraser, so for me it's not a direct comparison or anything like that, because obviously I wasn't here previously. So I can only speak of what I see now, and with him, not just with Twiney. I think when I look at all our attacking players, we've got such depth, we've got variety. So many people that can score goals. We're not just dependent on one, which over the course of a season, I think is really important that we can score goals from throughout the team, and we have that at the minute. And obviously, Twiney's on a hot streak at the minute, and long may it continue. But it's also emphasis on some of the other guys to make sure that they keep scoring as well.
Has he alerted you to the stat that has him at top of the most goals outside the penalty box? 13, that's 5 ahead of Messi.
No, I haven't seen that, to be fair. What are his numbers inside the box? So let's have a look at them ones as well.
Is that your message to him?
Maybe. I'd have to look at the numbers. I haven't seen them, to be honest.
I was just wondering, with him playing in that advanced role and playing your system at 3 centre-halves, and I say your system, it's been MK's system for a while now, is it inevitable that it will just leave you a little bit open with the 2 central midfielders, and that's perhaps why you're conceding these goals?
No, I think if actually, and we looked at September, if you look at over the course of September, actually, 2 clean sheets. We conceded one away at Gillingham. I think the other night was again, it's finding that right balance. Obviously, they're set up waiting to counter on us and waiting to play on our mistakes, and at the same point, we don't want to be so rigid and structured and constantly just thinking around, what if it turns over that we commit less bodies forward, etc. So I think the balance at times wasn't quite right, the structure wasn't quite right the other night, but before that, I have to say I was really pleased with especially the defensive side and the transition. I thought we, 3 games when I think back to Portsmouth, Gillingham away and Wickham, I thought actually defensively we were really good, strong. I don't remember too many counter-attacks against us, so I think the other night was, again, it was that, and again, credit to Fleetwood, I thought they played really well. I thought, in terms of defensive organisation and structure, they're probably the best I think we've played in terms of putting a real disciplined block up that worked across the pitch and were really patient with it. And again, what you then do is obviously you start to force things a little bit. You start to open up a little bit more. You start to rest mentally a little bit, which is what I thought we did, especially first half. And then what happens then is you sometimes make them mistakes that you get hurt for. But again, we bounced back twice. To go from a goal behind to actually get level again. So again, it's huge credit to the group for that, being able to do that. It shows the quality that we have in terms of being able to do it. It's now making sure, like the previous games, that we don't give up them goals and we continue to take the lead and stay in front.
You centre halves at the club. There's such good young players, Darling and O'Hora and Jules. Do they're destined to reach a very high level? Do they just have to learn their defensive craft now? Is that the final part?
I know she didn't mention Lewington in that young 3 as well, huh? Yeah, no, I think there's elements of definitely. I think what we've got is 3 forward skip. I think in terms of really strong characters, leaders in them positions, and I think I spoke with Harry about it recently, where what Skip has, that experience, that knowledge, that he's game hardened. You talk around understanding, little tricks of the trade type things. He's invaluable for them guys to learn off, I think. And what you have got with them guys is that they do want to learn, which will only speed up and accelerate that process. So I think we've got really good depth in them positions. That ultimately players that are only going to get better. If you actually look at the number of senior appearances they've made, you add them all together and they won't total what Skip's done. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, they're only going to get better. That the more experience they get, and the more they play and the more they learn.
What about Doncaster then, Liam? I mean, they're really struggling, and Richie Wellens this week I think his quote was, "If the players don't want me here, I'll leave." I mean, you never want to hear that from a manager. You must have plenty of sympathy for him, but you've got to go and do a job there.
Yeah, I actually think it's a really tricky game, to be honest. I think when you arguably nothing to lose, kind of going into the game, I think that's one that we every single week you can't take any game lightly. I think the second that you go into a game thinking it's going to be easy, irrespective of form, irrespective of external environments and how things are going at other clubs, I think you're in trouble. So every week it's on controlling what we can. For me, I know it's going to be a tricky game. I don't think there's any league in this. Any game in this league this will give me. So we have to make sure that we do what we've done this week. We prep properly. We assess. We analyse. We reflect. We put a game plan in place, and then it's ultimately making sure we go and execute that. And that starts with making sure that our mindset's right. So if we get our mindset right, our mentality right, it then comes down to do we want to scrap? Do we want to fight? Do we want to earn the right to play? Which knowing this group so far, I think we will. And then it comes down to the quality. So in that order, the mentality has to be right, irrespective.
Final one for me. Is it a case of it goes either way with those supporters up there, that they're either really going to get on his and the team back, or they can give it a right push to try and get them going?
Probably both. And again, I can't speak of for the Doncaster fans. I don't know them well enough in terms of sticking behind people through thick and thin. I don't know the supporters, to be totally honest. But again, I think what you can potentially create is that hostile atmosphere. If we can manage momentum and make sure that we start the game well, and we're on the front foot, I think you can then potentially create that environment where people are slightly frustrated. So again, it's not taking too much notice on that. It's more around managing momentum, making sure that we start on the front foot, making sure that we start with good habits, good intensity, real aggression, real positive play, and getting a foothold of the game that way.
Great, thanks, Ian.
No problem.
A bit of an unexpected break next weekend. It was looking like it was going to be a really busy fixture schedule for you, but obviously with the AFC Wimbledon game getting postponed, it's a bit of I suppose a break for you guys. Yeah,
no, it will be. We'll give the players a few days off. I think said it to them today. I think what's really important when we work with real intensity. So not just training, but the volume of video meetings, individual, team, unit, extras, etc., gym work. I think it's really important when we work. There's a real intensity to it. So when we have the opportunity to actually allow them to switch off physically, mentally, given how long the season's going to be, it's important that we do that. So yeah, it was unexpected, but it's a break that will be good for the players to recharge, to get ready to go again.
I know you probably hate us mentioning it every time, but this unbeaten run is quite something, isn't it? And it's not something that the club's done for a long, long time. It's have a long unbeaten run.
Thanks for bringing it up again, Toby. I think hey, look, it's a real positive, and credit to the staff, credit to the players. I think in terms of, I think what it does do is allow you to kind of build and continue momentum. And I went in the change room after the game the other night, and there was an extremely disappointed, frustrated group of players and staff, given what we know we're capable of. And when you don't ultimately achieve that, but I think it was important. We spoke about it and said that we actually played better against Sunderland and got nothing. So over the course of the season, we're not going to play well every game, and we're not going to win every game. Let's be honest about that. So it's then going, right, how quickly are we able to deal with the emotion of the game and then move on, getting ready to go again for Saturday. So I like the fact we were frustrated. I like the fact we were disappointed. I think it's important to go, right, we stay unbeaten. We did pick up another point, but actually now let's use the things that we are frustrated by and channel it into being better. And I think that's the biggest thing. Let's learn, let's improve, let's make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again.
You mentioned Scott Twine's goals earlier in the interview, but with the likes of Mo Isa coming back, Max Waters got his goal at Gillingham the other week, Troy Parrott's in good form as well. Goals coming from all over the place. That must be a terrific thing to have in your team, that there's somebody out there who's going to get you one.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, I actually think when you look at the last couple of games, we should have scored more than we actually have. I think we created a huge number of chances again against Wickham that we didn't take. Similar the other night, I thought we had 2 or 3 really good chances where again arguably should have scored more. And that, yeah, I think what I like is we've got players that are desperate and hungry to score goals. You sit with them and we do target setting, and straight away the first thing they want to do is set targets around goals and assists, which for me is great, because then you can channel their energy into improving their finishing, improving their movement to get into areas to score more goals. So the big thing then is actually almost using them to challenge each other. I think what they can't all play, which we're quite clear on, but there'll be periods where I'm sure it rotates. Some come in, some come out. The challenge then is how they cope with that. And if we can manage that right and we can get that right, they'll all be better players for it, because they'll keep driving each other, they'll keep stretching each other. So that's the task for me, for the staff, to make sure that we keep everybody focused on what we're trying to do, in the short, medium, and long term.